Welcome to the Otaku Lounge Genre Talk series, where we'll bring on a special guest each episode to discuss some of our favorite anime genres. Thanks as always for your support. Let's get right into it. Alright, let's see, how are we going to begin this one? Easy, thanks for joining us. This is going to be, I guess, the first of a series of talks on the genres of anime, but we're actually not going to start with the genres, start with, I guess, demographics at first. Today we talk about the shonen genre / demographic, and instead of having Coach with me here today, we've got a good buddy of mine, Taylor, here, and he is something of an aficionado, I would say, of the shonen genre demographic in general. I want to get right into it because this is going to be a pretty extensive talk. We'll start just by defining the shonen demographic, the genre, like what shonen means and what it's who shonen is for. And if you wanna take us off with your preferred explanation, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, from like the textbook definition, there's like a age demographic from like, I would say like 14 to 20 that it's just a target of, but that's really in relation to a non-Western audience and more oriented around the manga. So in my mind, the shonen-esque nature is just a generally heavy action for the most part. You will see the largest subset of that in like an action theme, but it's really aimed at young boys for a point, because you've got animes and mangas that are generally oriented around a protagonist who might be weak or an overpowered protagonist, and they genuinely advance and acquire new skills. Like, I mean, you're going to see the coming of age stories a lot in shonen, I guess, would be the best explanation of it.
Cool. Let's see. I want to talk about, so what is a shonen? As Taylor said, typically geared towards younger audiences, typically boys. Typically, I think it's the teenage demographic, like, the coming of age time in our lives. That's what these cartoons and anime are typically for. A lot of the time, like Taylor mentioned too, they are very high action. Much of the time, as I've noticed a lot, and a lot of recent shonen especially, there's a lot of comedy involved. Even shows where there are like drastic consequences for the craziest shit, there's always a punchline. There's always some humorous thing. Like, what's a good shonen that's like that? Well, I guess it's not really like, it's never drastic anymore. But DBZ, for I guess prime example of a shonen, 1 and 2, drastic consequences every plot line. But it's just littered with funny shit here and there. Typically male protagonists. Typically camaraderie between the boys or the guys or the team or whomever is the focal group of the show. Just it's a lot of learning, a lot of I guess becoming disciplined. It's all about action, and I guess learning seems to be the primary a lot of the primary attributes right there in it that way. Let's see. I've also found out that I don't go back super far with shonen. I know Dragon Ball is pretty freaking old, but apparently Dragon Ball may have set they're credited with setting the trend of popular shonen manga. So I believe it, considering it's still alive. 84 to now? Is that 30?
That's
34 years. Dragon Ball Z is 34 years old, or Dragon Ball, the whole mythos, I guess, or the whole world. But yeah, no, that's basically all of that is a shonen in a nutshell. It's just demographic for kids, well, for boys, typically preteen to 18 or so. Nothing wrong with liking shonen being older than that. A lot of shonen have, um, subset features of that. What's it called? Like subplot, subtext, stuff like that that adults pick up on that the kids don't. So like a lot of shonen are really interesting, especially if you can read between the lines. And then I guess going into our next topic, common themes and tropes in shonen. Talking about coming of age, typical trope, typical progression typical character development progression. And then we talk about tropes. They're funny, action packed. Anything that you might want to add to common themes and tropes that you see in a lot of shonen?
Yeah, I mean, like I would say that, like, to further simplify the, maybe long-winded explanation I had and just how the things pair with it, it's literally, it doesn't matter whether it's a sports anime or manga, a fighting-oriented one, an adventure. It's all around for the most part, a hero or a team. You're going to see time after time that they're either put in a situation where they are basically forced into something to basically be they could be a normal person, they could be somebody who's just comes from a family of assassins, whatever you want to have it, but they're put into situations of extreme interaction with others. Like, Dragon Ball, you have a kid who's trained on a mountain and he's randomly meets this chick, and it's the first chick he's ever seen, and just the entire events of the series follow that one awkward interaction where a boy who's never seen a woman go. Like, but yeah, you're just constantly going to see character growth. That I would say that is the largest theme and trope, is just character growth and going head first into challenges.
I'll say we see a lot of that in a shonen running right now, Black Clover. Coach at work, my co-host for the show, he absolutely had no inclination to watch this show based on the subbed version, because Asta is, I agree, the word. I hate him. I hate his voice. He's just so obnoxious. But then he went and watched the dub version. He watched the first 11, 12 episodes, fell in love with it, and now he's actually watching the subbed version now. Like, he's picked back up on the sub because I guess Asta gets a little bit less obnoxious. But that show, you start off with a kid who's basically worthless in a world full of everyone who can use magic, and gets this badass object. He can start using, well, I guess using magic is loose, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not too much in the terms of spoilers, but it's a I would say that the best definition, or the best kind of like description of Black Clover, is that it's the tale of a boy who has a dream but doesn't have the natural aptitude to be able to accomplish that. And it's kind of, you'll see it a lot, is the hard work leads to a profit kind of thing, right? Where if you work hard enough and aren't scared to fail, you can accomplish a lot of things. And I would say that that's a very positive kind of tale that's driven in a lot of shonen. Is just opportunities, what you make of it.
Yeah, that makes a lot. I mean, that's a good time in a kid's life to try to ingrain those kinds of stories too, and those kinds of lessons. So that makes sense that that's a lot of what shonen kind of encompasses at the same time. Let's get into the next little piece I wanted to talk about. Shonen, it's not exactly a genre, but it is a label that is used in genre tags on pretty much every anime social site, my anime list, uses shonen as a tag. Um, I think Crunchyroll might. I don't know. Crunchyroll doesn't have a tag system. Wait, they do have a tag system, but it's terrible. You can't find shit with it. But that beside the point. Yeah, shonen is considered a genre-ish thing. I guess it's just considered a genre at this point. But what are a lot of genres that we see paired with shonen? Obviously, action. Action can be non-shonen, but most action are probably going to be shonen. Like,
Yeah.
what are some examples you can come up with on common genre pairings that people would encounter?
I mean, with shonen, you're gonna see action, adventure, fighting. I guess would be one.
Yeah.
And the line gets kind of weird because, like, while some people might consider, and you probably can consider, like something like Code Geass, a shonen, it probably is more likely a seinen, and so getting into defining that, it gets really weird because you're probably going to see stuff with a little bit of comedy, some etchy, just kind of not ridiculous, perverted situations that occur. Like, you're just that's going to happen in almost everything. Somebody walks in on somebody in the shower. It's cue comedy sound effect and over dramatic reaction.
Yeah.
But I mean, the most common and the most like well known shonen are always going to fall within the action line. I mean, sports is good for shonen. And what else is there? I mean, without going into what specific mangas or animes are in that. Yeah. That's about what I got.
Yeah, I know commonly, to add to the list of common pairings, 95-97% of all of our mecha anime are shonen. Pretty much all of the Gundam series, as I understand it, according to our many conversations, are coming of age or struggling or being put in that situation that you have to figure out how the hell to manage. You grow from it, you live, you learn, people die, whatever. That's in pretty much every single Gundam series.
Yeah.
Like, Mecha's a huge. I think Mecha might be one of the few genres that I would say there are almost no non-shonen mecha. Like,
yeah, and I mean, I don't know if like any of them actively quantify themselves as that, because I mean, if you're looking at like the undertones in something like the Gundam franchise, you could potentially quantify it as like a seinen, which is just that next step up. Like seinen, just
a lot of those political argument, a lot of this political
and violence, like a lot of that's taken to the next level in those. And so like in some of that stuff, people are just dying, like but it depends. So I mean, like you ride that fine line between seinen and shonen, but I'd consider most of the mecha stuff, Full Metal Panic, Code Geass, Gundam, and Eureka, there's a lot of others.
Eureka? How do we want to say it? Do we want to pronounce it like the Japanese would, or do we want to pronounce it Eureka?
As far as I know, it's Eureka 7.
Eureka? Yeah.
And I would say I would definitely quantify that as a shonen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're going with that as like a baseline, then Gundam and quite a few of those other shows are shonen.
Shit, one of my favorite mecha shonen, I think, it's definitely shonen. One of my favorite mecha anime is Gurren Lagann. Full name Tengen Toppan Gurren Lagann, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That anime is the reason that I watch anime as much as I do now. It reignited the spark in me. It's over the fucking top. It's got insane exaggerations in power-ups and combat. And I think it has
etchy.
I had a bunch of etchy. It's got great character growth in Shinon, but outside of that character, everybody else seems to grow in the background. So it's very like it's like a pinpoint shonen. It's like,
Mhm.
this is your guy. Everybody else is cool, but
Yeah, for sure.
that was one of my favorite things. But yeah, so yeah, pretty much almost anything can be a shonen. It just what's the subject matter. The environment doesn't almost ever matter. Like I'm sure there's high school shonen. Actually, there's probably not an idol shonen.
No, I mean, like, if you're looking at, like, the high school, like, the slice of life / shonen to a point battle, anime battle manga, I mean, you're looking at things like,
Beyond the Boundary, maybe, because that one's kind of high schooly.
yeah, what is it? Like, Tenjo Tenge, I think, is that it? Yeah. Which is action comedy, ecchi, martial arts, school, shonen, superpower.
There you go,
Like,
guys. That's all of the common genre pairing. We just found it in a single show.
Yeah. So I mean, like that. Yeah, I would say that, like, that is the example of what all a shonen can exist to.
That's pretty good. I like it. So we covered what a shonen is and all that good shit. We'll talk about that some more a little bit later, but I want to get into kind of the meat and potatoes of my my episode here. The primary reason for this series, obviously this is episode 1. The primary reason for this series is to get people educated on some of these genres / demographics and get them interested, maybe show them something that they might like. Coach and I have done this before on the show, except that we had a lot of people tell us what kind of Western media that they liked, like shows, movies, whatever, what were they really into, and we gave them anime that might satisfy a similar kind of itch. Can't exactly do that here because we don't have people to talk to. Well, I mean, we probably could.
Well,
that would take a lot more time than we really should use. But we'll just kind of pick out a couple of shows here. We'll try to vary it up, like not just pure action shonen, not pure mecha shonen. We'll try to give everybody a little bit of love here. I should have added this in our little outline too, so it would have helped us out. But I'm thinking we'll start kind of thinking about broad terms. Like, there's people who like drama. There's people who love, buddy cop, crazy action, silly shit. There's people who like Coach, like rom-com. People that like Food Network, like, is extremely popular. Like, people watch food porn all day. So we can just go down the list of just like common Western audiences and talk about what kind of stuff newbies of the anime of the world might like compared to their Western pairings. So
for sure.
Let's see. We can do the easy one first. Action. Let's talk about. Well, let's actually divvy up action because there's a fuck ton of kinds of action. Pacific Rim has become a big deal in the West. Pacific Rim 2 is coming out in the near future. There's talk on the freaking internet every other week about fucking U.S. versus Japan mech battle. Like, the U.S. is in the Western world hemisphere is starting to get kind of into mechs. So, let's talk about easy digestible mecha shonen. Something that somebody who watches this for the first time, they're not really versed on anime, should like or might like. My personal suggestion would be exactly what got me back into anime a lot. Gurren Lagann. That show's fun. That's a fun fucking show. I already described it a little bit earlier, but that's a fun show. That's a good introduction to mecha, to a point, because most mecha are a little bit more realistic-ish, sci-fi realistic, not like magical drill power. But yeah, no, that would be my pick for, let's just say, the robot interest of North America.
For sure. If I was trying to get a non anime watcher to get into it, in regards to like a mecha.
So let's say they just watched Pacific Rim 2 and they're like, fuck, giant robots are badass, how can I get more? Taylor comes in.
There's a couple. I'll try and pick one.
No, you can take a few. It's fine. We're giving out suggestions like, pancakes that are free or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Gurren Lagann's great. I think it might be a little too close on the ridiculous side for some people to, ingest just easily.
I feel that.
So I mean, like, I know I may catch some flack from the mecha enthusiast here, but like, I'd probably say Gundam Wing in terms of digestion. Just like, if you're watching this and you're a fan of Gundam, I get it. Like, in terms of UC and all of that, like, fine, whatever. Like, not up for debate. But there's 5 different Gundams. There's a whole bunch of different, stuff in there. And in terms of just cool mechs in fighting, it has a lot of that. And it goes up and down and all around in terms of who's on whose side, who's fighting for what reason. And it's just a interesting little anime. Granted, it runs, I think there's 2 seasons. It's like 50-something episodes.
And it has the most iconic line in all of anime. No, I'll kill you.
Yeah. Oh, man. I remember that post on the Facebook group. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to pull up the video and switch OBS over to my window for a second, but I'm not going to fuck with copyright shit.
All good.
That's a good suggestion. I don't disagree that people like, especially because that's kind of almost also a history lesson with Mecha, because that's an older show. That's not using like super modern animation techniques and like high fidelity graphic fucking rendering shit. Like, that's an old show. Yeah.
I mean, like, granted, there are definite better, I guess, examples of mecha to a point, but in terms of, if you just watch Pacific Rim, you want an anime about, mechs, go watch Gundam Wing. You'll probably have a good time, and then you could probably jump into, a lot of the more, unknown to you stuff. The Neon Genesis, I don't know how to ever pronounce that in English. Evangelion, like, that's what.
Well, the Evangelion part is Evangelion, but what is the rest of it? Is like Neon Genesis?
Neon Genesis. Yeah. And then there's like Escaflowne. I mean, you can get into a lot of real classics that just like defined a generation for me in terms of what I was exposed to. But yeah.
Cool. So we got some picks for mecha likers, or people who are into robot battles. Which, speaking of, if you haven't seen that robot battle show, that one that used to be like super popular in the early 2000s, it's back and it's super popular again, and it's super dope. Like, the robots are fucking killer compared to the shit from before. But anyway, tangent done. Let's see. So we covered mechas. Let's go into more action. Let's say a lot of people really like kung fu movies. Matrix, kung fu-ish, but it's a popular one in the West. That's the point of the mention.
Yeah.
Fighting in general, Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee. We've got some of the greatest fighting movies that are hilarious and stupid, but also fucking awesome a lot of the times. I actually honestly don't have anything to contribute to this, because I don't think I've watched a actual a good a fighting anime, like just the boxing one. I forget what it's called, but that one's on my to-do list.
Hajime no Ippo?
Yes, Ippo.
Yeah.
That's on my list of things to do. But anyway, yeah, I honestly could not contribute to this, so I'm leaving this one up to you. What are a couple manga, or a couple, well, actually, you can also suggest manga. I forgot to mention that earlier, but what are a couple shonen media that, encompass fighting, martial arts, any kind of kung fu action? What's a good
I have to be honest, one of my favorites is Kenichi, the Mightiest Disciple.
Interesting.
It's if you look it up. So basically, the story revolves around Kenichi, and he is kind of a loser in all reality. He has an overprotective father, a annoying little sister that he cares about, but I mean, he basically witnesses this girl take on these Yakuza kind of thug looking guys, and wants to learn martial arts, and he eventually gets pulled into this I wouldn't even say it's a dojo. It's like a giant freaking, like, if somebody actually owned the amount of land that they had for their house in Japan, it'd cost a fortune. But this dojo with like all these different masters basically
like the
goes
Forbidden
through.
City, basically.
I wouldn't say it's that big. I mean, it's really big, but it takes the martial arts piece, and you get to learn a bit about that and him progressing. But he's basically learning like 5 or 6 different martial arts styles, and just how him not being limited and finally getting accepted and doing all of these things, and he actively learns through fights because he's consistently getting put into fights. I don't want to spoil the story too much, but if you want to watch something martial arts, give Kenichi the Mightiest Disciple a watch. Like, it's got comedy, a little bit of the etchy piece. Definitely got action. Definitely got the typical things we talked about for a shonen.
It's got a good number of episodes. A good number of episodes too. I just pulled it up, some info here. Looks like 50 episodes in total. That's a lot for a single season run. 95% of Google users that have voted like this show, and 8.2 on my anime list. So that's phenomenal scoring and phenomenal stats. 50 episodes is like, that's a good week binge if you actually are binging, or maybe 2 weeks. I don't remember how much I could binge in a week. It's been a while since I binged. But that's a good suggestion. I like the art style. I'm like digging the anime little cover art here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing the blonde one is his sister.
No,
not
at all.
Oh shit!
No spoilers, but not sister.
Now I'm really interested. All right, I will. I'm adding that to my list right now. Cool. So we got martial arts out of the way. Let's see Let's do one more action trope from the Western audiences.
Dope.
We can actually kind of pinch 2 together. Well, no, we'll cover another one later. We're gonna go for more like I won't say like law so much as like military or any kind of shooter stuff. So we're talking Sword Art Online Season 2 episodes like 1 through 11. For Gun Gale, I guess technically qualify. What else would qualify? Pretty much anything with fucking guns in it.
Okay.
You're also going to be the expert on this one, because I am drawing a blank actually right now. I might come up with something in a minute. What's some good gunplay anime?
It really depends. I don't know if I'm actually going to have to look it up right now to make sure.
Military anime. Basically, close enough for us to talk about here.
Yeah, I'm just checking to see if this is considered a shonen.
Girls und Panzer.
No,
that should have been called Mädchen und Panzer. They should have just gone full on German. I don't know why they had to do girls.
The one that really comes to mind in terms of like, if you like a Die Hard or something like that, right?
Yeah,
like that kind of action, or a not even to a point of John Wick. Black Lagoon. I don't know if this can be considered shonen. It might be a little too adult oriented to even quantify as that. But I'm not finding like any breakdown. It is a seinen, so no.
Yeah.
I can't reference that one. Let's see. I mean,
all right.
Is that yeah, sure, we'll go with that. Code Geass.
Okay.
Huge. So, like, I mean, it's set in like a alternate Earth kind of mentality. Basically, premise of it is that the Empire of Britannia, which is basically the representation of the United States, like, it it shows some maps and stuff. You'll see it. But Britannia is this large military, force that conquers other countries and everything. And it all starts out in Japan, which has now been designated as Area 11. And it's not really a spoiler because it says it within the first introduction of the series that there's a boy named Lelouch, and he is a half Britannian, half Japanese, but his father happens to be the Emperor of Britannia. And basically, his mother was assassinated. His sister gets crippled. They basically get used in political trade to a point, and he's hiding himself and living at a place called Ashford Academy as a student. Bunch of situations play out. He gets a superpower, basically a godlike power, to make any one person do what he wants once. And it plays out. There's a lot of military stuff, a lot of just tactical things, seeing him encounter new people, the way he manipulates people, guns, mechs, some martial arts. It's got it all.
Cool. I like that suggestion. That is a show I have experienced in the past as well. I can't disagree. There was a lot of shooting, and there was a lot of political drama in it. But I mean, if you're a 12-year-old Japanese kid, probably not picking up on much of it unless it's blatantly out there. But yeah, definitely a good pick for that. Let's dive out of action, go into something a lot lighter. I don't know if there really are a lot of these. And honestly, I think, maybe. They are comedic. But I don't really know how many people looking for shonen-like shows are going to be looking for this demographic, but we may as well talk about it. Comedy, rom-comedy, just anything dealing with people being silly assholes or developing relationships, growing together in a place, and it's always funny. Is there anything like that in the shonen demographic that you can come up with?
I mean, honestly, there's not a lot. If I had to even try and find one, and this is a stretch, I would definitely say it's a stretch, that I have encountered or watched. I mean, you could probably try and throw maybe a Detective Conan in the mix. Maybe a. Ugh. I'm not an expert when it comes to rom-coms. That's not my bag of rice.
I'll probably add in footnotes in the video description and get Coach's opinion because that's his field of expertise.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that's categorized as shonen as being a rom-com.
Yeah, and especially because the shonen demographic is used as a genre label, I can't think offhand of anything labeled as both romantic comedy and shonen.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a couple of things like light harem, probably rom-comedies like those. I'm sure there's plenty of rom-com harem anime that try to be something else. Like, let's say, for example, 2 seasons ago, In Another World on My Smartphone. I don't believe that would be geared towards anybody but boys.
Yeah.
Because it's a guy who gets put in a world with the ability to be the biggest badass ever and has all the magics and all the crazinesses.
What was it?
He's surrounded by a bunch of women who want his dick. That's the whole show, but it's hilarious. So it's a kind of romantic comedy of errors, harem shonen.
That was
isekai, action, adventure, fantasy. Good God.
What about? I don't know if it was an. Yes, it is an anime. I think it might be a shonen.
Oh.
Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Oh, that is a shonen. That is a That is kind of a rom-com. It's like a.
Yeah.
I love Hestia.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I guess that would probably be it.
That's a good pick. I wholeheartedly agree with that one.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll get out of this one because that was a weird topic, and I wanted to go into that so we get it out of the way. I think another good area for shonen, and there's a lot of the seinen shonen crossover in this area because a lot of these shows feature some advanced thought, psychological shit. A lot of
Yeah.
sci-fi has a lot of psychological undertones, government conspiracy stories, shit like that, like Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, but that's as much as like
That's one of those things that kind of draws that line because if we talk about like what it's geared towards, I want to say the anime probably more adults, but
definitely
the manga might be more geared towards the younger audiences, just to make the bottom dollar, of course. But
for sure,
I'm pretty sure that's their target demographic for the original source material.
I would say though that like Ghost in the Shell is absolutely one of my favorite of all time.
I wouldn't tell people to start with it. If that's what
I'm not telling you to start with it by any. I mean, it like there are some real political just undertones, like not even undertones. They're blatant.
Yeah.
Like it clearly defines issues in a dystopian society, and it definitely speaks to the whole advancement of humans, whether naturalized humans or cyborgs, people who are modifying their bodies. Like it gets into some real interesting stuff, and it's dark. It's got a lot of good action, and throws you for a loop. Honestly, like there's some real big surprises in that. But where are we wanting to go with this one?
We're just gonna pick out sci-fi shonen. People like Star Wars. People like Star Trek. People like what the hell is that? What's that recent one that came out on Sci-Fi? I think it starts with a D. Shit. I watched the first season. Let me see if I can find it. It's a sci-fi original. Sci-fi series. Not Defiance, not The Stand. Let's see. It's not that old. Why the hell does IMDb do this out of order? Alright, we'll get back to it. Basically, we're just talking on this subject. Anime, good sci-fi, shonen, stuff that we compare to people who like Star Wars, stuff we compare to people who like Star Trek, stuff we compare to people who like pretty much anything that's based in the future. Blade Runner we can add that to the sci-fi list.
If I had to go, like, you'd definitely throw Ghost in the Shell in there if you're going Blade Runner style thing. But I mean, like, even to a point, probably like something like Macross.
Yeah.
But that gets into a bit more of the mecha, a bit more of the that
one's an interesting one though, because the mechs are like both mechs and some of them become fighter pilots and shit, like things that we recognize today. So
yeah, I'm trying to think if there's something more oriented around the actual like sci-fi realm as opposed to just the fact that it's a future and they have technology that we don't have.
Let me see if I can find some series. Oh, Cowboy Bebop. That one, actually, no, that one is a shonen. Yeah, Trigun's a shonen, futuristic sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean, that was going to go on my list of, if you want to experience a shonen, you watch Trigun.
We can bring that up later.
You know what? What about, is this even a shonen? Is Steins Gate a shonen?
I want to say no. The visual novel it is based on is terrible. No, not terrible. It's like really good, but it's terrible for your heart. Most of the characters can die in so many different ways, and the show has a lot of fucked up psychological shit. And also people dying.
You know what? Guilty Crown or See the Money. What is that? Money and Soul of Possibility. two relatively, I believe they should fall under sci-fi. They both have a similar vein of that. Guilty Crown, there is a outbreak of a virus, basically, and it's a story about this one guy and what's her name? I'm really spacing on this. It's been a little bit since I saw these. Inori and Shu, basically, and so there's a breakout of this virus. There's an event called the Lost Christmas, and I think military rule basically gets implemented. So like martial law to a point, and basically it's these two's fight against this like guerrilla group that is trying to overthrow the group enforcing martial law. So you basically get like a young high school student dragged into a war with this super non-realistic, science-based virus fighting force. Really confusing. C would the Money of Soul and Possibility Control. Definitely probably a better one. It's really interesting. Basically, kid gets presented with this situation where they get pulled into this like alternate reality, and basically there's you can earn money, but you get this fighting partner. Basically, you have battles, and you can fight other people to take their money, and it goes through an entire development of this character who is like a poor college student struggling to get by working a part-time job type thing and being exposed to a world where he can just get ludicrous amounts of money and how that affects the real world, because that money that they earn there isn't technically money from the real world, but they're bringing it out and it's somehow getting transferred, and it affects the economy. And like it goes through an interesting piece of where the markets are rising and falling, and it rapidly affects if a place exists if their market destabilizes. So like super interesting. I would recommend giving it a shot. It's a little bit to take in, but it's one of the few things I could try and reference. Cowboy Bebop, obviously. If go watch it right now. I don't care who you are. Go watch it right now.
That would be a good just overall. Hey, if you want to get into anime, go watch Bebop. Go watch Trigun. Basically, go watch all of the greatest anime Adult Swim has ever had. Samurai Champloo, which is one that we should have mentioned earlier for the fucking martial arts and fighting. Samurai Champloo would have been a good one.
And Afro Samurai.
But
that's a little bit more adult, I'd say.
Yeah, probably. Let's see. Let's do two more common subgenres, and then we'll start going into the next little bit.
Sport.
That's actually what I was gonna say. Next one was sports, and then after adventure. So yeah,
sports. There are. Oh, and I can't wait for adventure. So there's actually quite a few in sports. Easily dive in. Like the first one that comes to mind is iShield 21. Okay. I will say that it is probably the longest of the series that I would recommend. So it may not be the first one you should choose, but it is definitely one of my favorites. Scared little kid who's bullied gets pulled into, basically forced into being on the football team, but he's really fast. And
wait, football?
Yeah, football. It's a football anime.
American football?
American football.
What?
Yes.
Oh,
iShield 21.
It's
super dope. And the kid's super tiny, but he's really fast. He becomes the running back, and he basically is forced by the guy on the football team to wear this green eye shield, and his name is iShield 21, and nobody can know his identity. And they go through a lot of battles. There's points where they travel to go train, and just the ridiculousness of it. Like a lot of comedy, a lot of character growth. You really end up feeling for all the different people on the team as they try to overcome everything and win the winter tournament or the high school championship.
Can we talk about one thing here real quick?
Yeah.
There's a fucking anime and manga series about a Japanese high school with an American football team. How amazing is that? One. And two, you literally probably just suggested like the number one anime to get Americans in anime. Like, what does America digest?
Let me just say that hold on. let me just say it is it is not realistic.
I don't imagine it would be.
But yeah, it's really ridiculous. And let me just say that like there are times when it's like they're having conversations while defending their quarterback, and it's like that's taking an eternity. But you gotta just kind of take the fact that it's an anime. All right,
it's a shonen. It's a shonen too, and like that's actually it's a common trope too. Is like those like focus moments, like fucking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is full of those moments where there's just like internal monologue for 3 minutes straight, and 2 seconds pass in real time. Like
JoJo's is also one of my favorite animes of all time. You should read the manga or the novels, I should say, books, whatever. However, that actually got released, but you should read it. You should watch it. There's a ton of seasons, and it just fundamentally gets more exaggerated and more ridiculous. And you can't explain why you care, but you end up you keep watching.
It's like Gurren Lagann's exaggerations, but on crack. Like,
well, I mean, like if I'm being honest, he's like calls his mom like straight up. He's like calls her a bitch.
Oh, and she loves it.
Like, yeah, she loves it. It's super weird. Like, but definitely love that. I would say that if you don't mind, older animation style, like if that doesn't bother you, you should absolutely watch Slam Dunk. If you want a newer animation style that it's pretty and whatnot, you should watch Kuroko's Basketball League. If you want to watch, like, there's honestly a shonen anime for every sport. There is Knight of the Area, I think is what it's called, which is soccer. Prince of Tennis, highly recommend it. In fact, I could probably recommend every sport. Haikyuu for there's not one for cricket. I mean,
they might have a Bollywood animation that has a cricket. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I mean, for all of the primary sports that any Western, person like would think of, there's an anime for it. It's pretty good. And yeah.
We'll have you compile a list and we'll add that in the details here too.
I mean, honestly, I'd probably just have to go to my I have a list on like I want to say it's like Anime Planet or something like that, but I have a list and it says that I have watched like 9 concurrent months, 24-hour days of anime. So
yeah, if you guys, we'll talk about this at the end here. If there's something I know about Taylor, he knows a fuck ton about sports anime. A fuck ton. Like, when we talk about shonen, we talked about doing this episode, we talked a lot about sports, and we talked a lot about other anime. I think we even talked about baseball because of a baseball anime conversation, so.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. If you don't want to overload people, that's awesome. We'll get the last one out of the way, which you're excited about, the adventure.
I
about some good adventure shonen that people would definitely like to that would get people interested more in the medium.
Hunter x Hunter, like I can't recommend it.
And we have a new season coming soon too.
Yeah. Yes. I think there's, and it depends on which one you watch. There's a couple different ones. You should watch the re-release, which is like Hunter x Hunter 2011, I think.
I think that's the one that Adult Swim recently ran through the...
yeah, and I think it's on Crunchyroll. I'm trying to pull that up right now, but Crunchyroll site always has some loading issues for me. But Hunter x Hunter follows a boy named Wow, I just spaced on his name.
Gone.
Gone. Yeah, there we go. Gone. Wow. And like I would say that this defines a young boy growing up, encountering challenges, fighting them head on, being honest, earnest, and just being
He's
the
so
definition.
innocent so much too.
Well, yeah, and it's similar to like Dragon Ball Z with Goku. Like, I mean, just pure. I think is the best word to describe Gon. And it like I had an amazing time going through that in terms of like adventure. I mean, you could also throw in a fairy tale if you wanted, because it's a real endearing little group of people in their battles. But yeah, and I could probably go on for at least another 10 describing that.
Another 10 anime or another 10 minutes?
Another 10 anime at least.
I was hoping you'd say hours. That'd be funny.
Yeah, probably. I mean, D. Grayman would also be in there.
I mean, we probably had enough conversations on this topic alone to encompass a good 10 hours of our free time.
Yeah.
That's cool. Adventure and a lot of adventure anime are typically shonen. There's very few reasons for an adventure anime to need to be seinen, because most adventures aren't like ReZero is an exception, because that one just like is nonstop cringe every time something terrible happens. It's like, why did that just happen? Oh my god! But it's an adventure anime, and I guess it technically would be a shonen.
Oh my gosh! Did we talked about school, right?
We did not.
We didn't.
Should we?
Well, I mean, we should.
Yeah.
After this, but I mean, there's a perfect example of a school anime combined for shonen. So
cool.
Yeah.
Then we'll bring that up in a second here.
Yeah.
But yeah. This would be a tough one for me to pick out one. Just because I mentioned it and I'm super into the show. I wish they would announce a season 2 or some shit. They gave us a teaser OVA that gave no info about a season 2. But ReZero, it's adventurous. Dude gets drugged into another world, so it's also an isekai, which means another world in Japanese if you're, literally new to Japanese and anime. But it's an adventure. Dude comes into another world, learns that he can't die, and gets himself into a lot of terrible situations. Honestly, I almost dropped the show because I didn't think that he was developing as a character at all for like the first half of the 24 episode run, until like the last 8 or 9 episodes. He started actually like, holy shit, I like this guy now. He still likes the wrong girl, but I like this guy now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say ReZero. Introductory anime wise, maybe intermediate level introductory. Like if you think you can stand some pretty terrible death scenes, go ahead. If not, save it for like anime 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Hunter's a good ass fucking suggestion. Like,
it's
the
not
the reboot.
Too long.
Yeah, it's not too long. It's long. But it's not too long. It's not like a long running shonen. But yeah, let's say school anime. We'll knock this one out real quick. What did you think up or find here?
Assassination Classroom. Like it's that show super dope. If we didn't talk about it, I probably would have been disappointed in myself. Assassination Classroom is dope. The premise is that these kids are at a hyper elite school institution, and basically there is a group of individuals who are the worst of this elite institution, and they get sent off to this like little rundown school that is detached from the main campus, and just basically all of the other students treat them like crap. But they their new teacher for that class is a monster from outer space who has blown up the moon and basically says, you have to like, if you want to pass type of thing, you have to kill me within like, I forget how long it is. It might have been a year. Within a year, and you'll all get paid a shit ton of money, and you'll pass, like, and you'll save the planet. So it's a really interesting show. It's got a lot of bit about like the teacher, you know, finding ways to teach the students trying to kill him. And it's just really awesome, really endearing at points. It's got some great action. But yeah, Assassination Classroom, give that a watch.
I would definitely be upset with us too if that hadn't been mentioned, and if that would have been an afterthought. Yeah, I would have. I would have also been upset. That's a great one for a school shonen. That's probably, we'll call that poster child for shonen school anime.
Yeah, I mean, because otherwise you get into like the slice of life stuff, and it's just that doesn't fall really within the shonen.
That's usually gonna be that, not necessarily saying there's a demographic for basically Japanese adult women, or I guess I don't know why I even said that, because I love slice of life. But yeah, I'm sure there's a different demographic for that. Usually slice of life shows don't even get a demographic tag.
Yeah.
But yeah, that about covers us talking about, you know, good introductory anime based on what you're into as far as Western media goes. We'll take a few more minutes here and talk about some of the more prominent figures in the shonen genre.
Yeah.
The big names, the guys who literally can't stop, won't stop, like, they don't know how to stop. They just pump out a new fucking episode every other day somehow, and they just shit money.
I mean, there is a large culprit. There is a number one identifiable, disgusting culprit of that entire situation, and I can't wait.
Right, so we'll get right into it. There's a couple of anime. A lot of them are highly regarded shonen. However, they have a fuck ton of episodes, a shit ton of filler, a lot of waste. Almost, a lot of your time might feel wasted if you actually watch these shows one by one, and especially if you're just getting the anime, it'll terribly turn you off of the media as a whole. They're not terrible shows.
No, they're great, and
some of them are,
watched on most of the ones that we're going to talk about. I have watched every episode of the series multiple times through. So I'm not saying it is a waste, but if it is your first exposure, please do not just try and eat up one of these series, and I'll explain why in just a sec.
All right, so we'll name them off first. The four big ones that I listed off, that I off the top of my head, just shit I know. They're long as fuck, they're full of filler, but they're good anime, and they're shonen. We got Bleach. I think it has some 300 and some odd episodes. We have One Piece, which is like almost at 900 now or some shit. They just hit 800. That's what it was. A few weeks ago, they hit their 800th episode, or something like that. Naruto, which is three different shows now. We have Boruto now. So Naruto,
yes.
Shippuden, Boruto, hundreds of episodes again. Then we have DBZ, which has Dragon Ball, DBZ, Dragon Ball GT, DBZ Kai. There's like another remake of GT as well. I don't remember what it's called. And then there's Dragon Ball Super now. Like, Dragon Ball goes on for days. It's insane. Like, Dragon Ball is that the one that you're talking about? The biggest?
No.
The One Piece?
The largest? No, One Piece is the largest offender. Like, it is just. I mean, I tried. Like, it's not that I don't like it, but honestly, it's like, get to the end, please. Like, cool, man. Like, episodes somewhere in the 500s. I think there was something that, like, I was like, finally, cool. And then I thought we were going somewhere, and now we're at like episode 800, 900, and I'm just like, still haven't gotten there. What's going on? And
I have a friend who's actually caught up with the show and is loving every minute of it, but I'm guessing that's because he's caught up to the show.
I mean, I've tried multiple times, and it's just like, you'll get caught up, and you'll be like, okay, cool, I'm really enjoying it in the moment, but we still haven't gotten anywhere close to where episode 1 was trying to send us. When are we getting to the Grand Line?
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, no,
it,
that one is it might be the longest running, I guess, on our list of things to talk about
um,
today. There's only a few anime that have more episodes
I
than
think
One
Detective
Piece.
Conan is
Yeah,
on
Detective
that
Conan's
list.
one, and then there's some other show that has like 2,000 something fucking episodes or something like that. It's like some
Yeah,
little kid show or some shit that's been airing
yeah,
since the 70s or 80s
yeah,
or some
what's it
shit.
called? Like Detective Conan, I think has 889 episodes
Hmm.
or 880. Like it's somewhere near there. It's a lot.
And
Yeah,
just because I'm thinking about it, I have to figure out the longest running anime. Let's see. Episode count. Holy good God. Currently
yeah.
still in production, 1969. I think
Crayon
it's a.
Shinshin.
No, Sazeya-san has 7,242 episodes and counting.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's not shonen, so we don't give a shit about it. But
No, not at all. But
just
that's
on the topic, Jesus Christ.
and that art style is rather Charlie Brownish, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's definitely a children's anime, and I'll probably have an episode on that demographic at some point too. Very short episode because I can't talk on it very well. I'll get somebody's kid as a guest. But yeah, no. On the topic of just shonen in general, that show will eat your life unless you are absolutely ready to commit and you've got days on days of anime underneath your belt. I would never suggest going near that. Unless you, if you're very very good at being responsible and outlining your watch schedule, and you watch watch it as if it was coming out for you, you might enjoy it. You might, an episode every other day or so, you might get really into it. But if you're gonna binge anything, don't touch One Piece. Don't start
Yeah,
with One Piece. Don't start with One Piece.
I mean, and like I said, Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, DBZ, love all of them. I've watched them almost like, unless they're broken up to like One Piece, I had to stop. I couldn't like. I just it's too much. It's too much. Can't keep up with it, and it gets ridiculous and more ridiculous as it goes on. But Bleach is absolutely awesome. The first arc of that is one of the coolest arcs I've seen. Like that entire journey that you follow with the main character Ichigo, just dope.
Yeah,
Um,
no. I enjoyed the shit out of the first like 2 seasons of Bleach. Basically, that pretty much from him starting off as a normal nobody to beating
from a boy that can see spirits to
just
beating the hell out of death reapers, like
death gods, just like
death gods. There we go.
Like it's a pretty great shonen in that regard. It has a lot of episodes, and it's kind of in the same respect as like Naruto, and to some extent an argument DBZ, pre-Kai. It has a lot of filler. Bleach, I think it literally has like 2 seasons in a fucking row that are just almost pure filler. And
Yeah.
like it's terrible. I think it's like season 3 and 4 or 4 and 5, something like that. I think it's 3 and 4. No, because season 3. No. I think it's like 4 and 5. I actually stopped watching that at that point, and I watched the movie, and I was like, "Oh, this is a sweet movie." And then I didn't watch. I still haven't finished Bleach. I'll go back and finish it. I've gotten far enough that I have to. But
in my rewatches, I definitely have skipped quite a few episodes because it's just like, okay, cool, they're going to a hot spring or they're going to this or that, and it's just like I don't care.
yeah. And Naruto is just as guilty of that, especially in the first season. Well, I think I actually heard Shippuden's got a shit ton of
dude. Honestly, that falls down into more flashbacks. No spoilers. It just falls into Shippuden has a lot of flashbacks, and a lot of flashbacks to the same moment, shot in a different way. Like I remember just sitting there, and I'm like, oh my god! Like we get it. That was 7 episodes ago, but we get it. Like,
that's funny. And then DBZ is kind of like the reason I said was kind of a what's the opposite of a victim? somebody, whatever. DBZ also has a lot of filler, but it's not, for the most part, it's not full seasons. It's more like if you watch it, if you don't watch Kai,
Sagas. You watch it in sagas.
yeah, you watch it in sagas. But if you don't watch DBZ Kai, what you're gonna get is like many episodes of a single power up. It's just filler.
I mean,
they'll have like people freaking out in the other parts of the world. Oh my god, we have to do this before Goku fucks up, and we have to wish everything back or some shit like
the 7 episode power up. Like,
how many episodes did the original Spirit Bomb take?
I'm trying to.
How many episodes? That was like fucking like 5 or 6 episodes just to make the Spirit Bomb, wasn't it? Let's see if we can find this.
Yeah.
How long did it really take to charge up the Spirit Ball? 7 episodes, yeah.
7 episodes, yeah. Like 7 episodes.
7 episodes to kill one guy, to blow up a fucking planet. 7 episodes to make a giant sun
energy bomb.
Yeah, a giant ball of light powered by all the beings in the universe. To kill one dude, it took 7 episodes, and that's not even the worst power up. I think Super Saiyan 3 or 4 took. Good God, like that show is it's great. It's fun and it's funny. The action's really entertaining. Like it's mostly just like repeated GIF animation, essentially, like for 3 seconds at a time. But it's really fun. It's interesting. The DBZ Super arc that they're on right now, it's a little bit. It's getting repetitive because they just rehash the same conflict and resolution.
With new villains, like.
But it's still interesting. They're introducing characters that they haven't done a character like this kind of shit before, so it's kind of interesting. Like you're meeting characters that their archetype didn't exist in the DBZ or DB world before.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. We're getting mythos. We're getting background. We're getting literal universe building. But yeah, otherwise it's a lot of repetitiveness. So not a good show to hop into. If you get really into anime and you like action, definitely a good show to start watching, especially from the beginning, because Dragon Ball is so fun.
Oh my god. Full Metal Alchemist.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
that one's iffy because I would say
no. Hold on.
Start with it.
There's a distinguishment. All right. So there's Full Metal Alchemist and there's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Right. There's FMA and FMA Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist runs on too long. The regular first anime that was released, it's not as true to the manga, the source material, as it should be. And I would say that, hey, as a first introduction, watch Brotherhood because it's not as long. I want to say that it's how many episodes is it? It's 50, 60 episodes combined, while FMA is what is FMA? Does FMA have like 100?
I really should know that because that was one of the series, like, as a kid, I watched all the way through. The original run was 51 episodes. Let's see, Brotherhood.
Really?
Yeah.
So Brotherhood has more episodes.
I think Brotherhood actually resolves the story.
Yes.
Too. Like, I don't think the original one ever resolves the story.
Yeah, but animation's better in Brotherhood. The story's more contained around the source material. I honestly, that's how much FMA affected me. Is my perception is that 50 episodes is actually 100.
Let's also put this in perspective. Brotherhood only has 64 episodes. That's a lot. That's like 5 seasons of an American show.
Yeah.
So maybe too much to digest at first. Once you get into the thing, you're super into anime or something, you start liking action, you want to see something like kind of almost fantastical in a way, because alchemy and the way that they portray it is almost magical. So it's almost fantasy.
No, sir. It is science. Don't play around.
I'm sorry. You're drawing pentagrams. That's not science. or hexagram. Sorry.
Listen, it just follows the laws of equivalent exchange. I don't know what you're talking about. It's very scientific.
You're right, Newton. I forgot. Oh wait, that was force and gravity. Never mind. Anywho, but yeah, I think that would be a good intermediate show to get into. And it's actually ranked number fucking one on my anime list. Like all the users on their site, that's the
Yes.
number one show.
Like that's so I guess we should jump into resources, right?
Yeah. There's not really a lot to talk about here. Mostly, just want to mention that a lot of shonen, in their original format, is typically printed in magazines in Japan. One of the most common ones is Shonen Jump. There's also Shonen Weekly. I think that's what it was called. Oh no, Daily Shonen something. I don't know. There's a bunch of shonen magazines. The biggest one is Shonen Jump. They serialize Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, almost everything we talked about. But yeah, that's a good source if you can import it. I believe that they actually do publish it in English. You can get English Shonen Jump, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if that's done through Viz or whoever.
Aside from Shonen Jump, obviously, any of your legal streaming sites, Crunchyroll especially, My Anime List is amazing. There's a website called livechart.me, I think it is, and you can actually see all of the anime that's going to be airing per season, per year. What else is there? Anime Planet is a good place for tracking anime. I don't know actual news resources though.
Weekly or Viz.com, Viz Media, they do like the mangas, the anime, they do a lot of stuff. But they have a weekly Shonen Jump. I think that's in English, and you can get a subscription for it.
Ooh.
Yeah. So like single issue price is 99 cents. I think it might be digital.
That's not bad though.
And then you can get a 54-cent per issue for 12 months subscription for like $25.99 or something like that. But yeah, weekly digital English language magazine featuring the most popular manga. Available at viz.com.
That's good shout out there. Viz.com, go get yourself some,
clicking on it right now. Latest free chapters. Kuroko's basketball, Haikyuu, the volleyball, Dragon Ball Super, Juni Tyson, Tokyo, My Hero Academia, which should be in our list.
Oh my god!
In there, we
sorry.
almost missed it.
Oh my god! So yeah, what's fucked up is actually another common Western thing right now is superheroes because Marvel and DC are blowing up. So I didn't even think about that. But yeah, My Hero Academia. If you are just starting to watch anime and you like superheroes, go watch My Hero Academia right fucking now.
Yep.
Right now. Season 3 is upon us next season. I think. I think it's spring 2018.
Yes.
It's either spring or summer. Either way, it's coming soon. Catch up. It's really freaking good.
One Punch Man.
One Punch Man. Oh my god.
Dude, there's too many.
Superheroes.
Well, I mean, honestly, there's just too many. Like, I could go through the historicals with like the Yu Yu Hakusho's.
Oh god, that's a classic.
Food Wars. I don't know why I didn't bring that up.
I was surprised you didn't bring that up.
I mean, it's one of my favorite shows. There is so many, and we would take up hours upon hours. We could talk about this for days.
This is. I mean, the reason I wanted to start the show with this genre demographic is it's literally the biggest one. If you look at a chart that graphs out the 5 major animation and media demographics of Japan, shonen has a 70% hold on that fucking chart. Like a good, I would say 65 to 70% of all manga and animation media from Japan is geared towards that audience, or at least that demographic.
Yeah.
It's a huge topic. We're not going to cover shit of that. We're just hoping to give you a taste.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool to know. Weekly Shonen Jump. Viz.com, you said?
Yeah, Viz.com.
Viz.com. VIZ for UK peoples. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to go subscribe here soon because I'm all about that life. Also, like I was saying, just your typical anime news sites. There's literally Anime News Network. There's a fucking animenewsnetwork.com. Subscribe, go there, check it out. Crunchyroll. They actually have a social media team, and they do awesome talks. You can listen, see people talk about anime just like I'm doing right now. They have news all the freaking time on their site.
Also, if you just want, like, say you have cable still. I know most people our age and from our generation don't, but if you do, and you have Cartoon Network available, you can always watch Toonami on Adult Swim every Saturday night. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. I watch Toonami every Saturday, and it's not because I'm like, ooh, my animes. It's because I enjoy having that on the background.
Yeah, and it gives you a little bit of structure to it. And they're running a lot of like current stuff. They're also running, like Dragon Ball Super's on the list, Black Clover, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Mobile Suit Gundam, Iron Blooded Orphans, Outlaw Star. God, love Outlaw Star. Ghost in the Shell.
I think they're actually bringing Space Dandy back soon too.
They are.
Yeah,
but that's like in the early morning rotation. But yeah, dude, like there's a lot of places to do it. I mean, I got exposed to that by Toonami after school when I was a kid. I mean, granted,
Yu-Gi-Oh and Gundam and Dragon Ball Z were kid shows.
I guess when I was in elementary, I was watching Ronin Warriors in the morning before school. My brother would watch Sailor Moon, I'd watch Ronin Warriors, and then the bus would come and pick me up.
So he was shoujo, you were shonen.
Yeah.
That's cool. So yeah, let's go into a little wrap up here, I guess, our final thoughts. Yep. We kind of already covered a lot of things that we missed and regretted. Food Wars, My Hero Academia, One Punch Man, any of those three. If you're getting into anime, you like action-y shit, they're all gonna be great. Food Wars might be a little weird for some people because there's a lot of ecchi.
Very much
like ecchi for new people. Ecchi, it's just like light nudity, not typically. It's not porn. It's just it's perverse. And it's not typically full nudity. They'll typically have shit hidden. Or
I will say that the way that Food Wars does it. So, like, say you eat something really amazing, and you're like, "Holy shit, that was wonderful!" Well, just imagine you eat that, and you're almost, having a climax. I would say. I'm trying to find.
I've already said fucking shit like 12 times. So
yeah. So I mean, to a point, basically, and your clothes just magically blow off because of that. Like, granted, it's not like crazily done. You're not just gonna be like, wow, that's a snatch in my face, or anything like that. I mean, it
happens to male characters on the show too. Yeah, it's not just a female character. Like, oh, it's not fan service. It's like everybody. It happens.
Yeah. Well, everybody gets fan service. But yeah, I mean, like the cooking and the battles and the creativity, like, granted, I mean, I can't watch that show and not be eating something. So, like, just prepare yourself. If you'll probably be wanting to eat something if you're watching that show.
And I would say, as far as recent shows go, My Hero Academia is probably one of the best recent, character, like, real strong, believable character growth. Like, this kid literally starts from nothing in a world where everybody. It's like almost Black Clover. In a way.
Well, I mean, yeah, he is a kid that doesn't have powers in an entire world of people that have powers.
Yeah, and he's an oddity because of that. Not exactly an outcast, but not exactly like really friends with everybody. Childhood friends aren't really friendly anymore because they have powers. He doesn't. Yep. By some means, he gets powers, and he gets fucked up because of these powers, and eventually, becomes a super badass. And we're here where we are now, waiting for season 3. Yeah. Not much else we really missed. I
mean, there's plenty that has not been discussed, but I'm not gonna let this run on any super crazy amount longer.
There's a lot we didn't talk about. It's shown as such a big genre. I'm sure we'll have plenty of discussions in the Facebook group and all that. But yeah, for now, we'll call that a shonen discussion. I appreciate anybody who's watching right now, listening, because we'll probably throw this on Podbean as well as an audio podcast. Thanks, Taylor, for joining us. Do you have any kind of social media that you care to give out, or you just want to be a ghost on the internet?
No, man, like I don't really have anything. I mean, I'm sure that, like, you know, if you like, I think I have a Twitter account, and I mean, if you're in the Facebook group, I'm in there. You can add me from there. I don't know if might be the only Taylor, but yeah, no, nothing crazy, man. I like, honestly, I'm just here to enjoy this conversation about freaking anime and manga and shonen specifically, since it is the largest segment of things that I intake.
Cool. Well, we'll try to have you back here whenever we talk about stuff like mechas, maybe some other genres. But yeah, again, thanks everybody for listening. This has been Zane with Otaku Lounge and Taylor as my guest to talk about shonen. If you're at all interested in this Facebook group we've been talking about, go on Facebook, go to groups, search for Otaku Lounge, parentheses, Team Lift, and you'll find us. It's free to enter, open group, whatever. Thanks again. Y'all have a good night.